Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. In 2024, the Department of Agriculture intends to put 700 acres of land under active cultivation and production at New River, Prospect, Cades Bay, Potworks, and Indian Castle. The focus will be on food crops and vegetables such as tomatoes, watermelons, cucumbers, pumpkins, butternut squash, and sweet potatoes.
We want to have at least 700 acres under production. No, I'm serious. However, Madam President, I have to give a word of caution to some of the persons who now rent land from the Department of Agriculture. Because ever since I was at the Department of Agriculture, we had this problem where persons rent and they're not doing anything with the land. We at the department, we now have to reassess what is happening, because practically every month people are calling and saying, I want land, I want to get involved in agriculture. And there are some persons who are holding on to the land and not utilizing it. And we want to change that. We want to change that. And so we want all of the lands that are leased or rented by the department to be under production. We want to increase our awareness of aquaculture. I know that the member opposite raised that as well yesterday. We did some training in aquaculture this year. We want to continue that because we think there's an opportunity there as well for people to do fish farming. Maybe some of the ladies who were trained, who went to the workshop this morning, to get involved in aquaculture. And that is why we need to free up more of the land that is not being utilized, because people need to use the land for things like aquaculture as well.
The Ministry of Agriculture will also continue to promote intensive farming for livestock farmers.
When we have our AgriFest, when we have our open day previously, the biggest seller of meat is mutton. And we never have enough. It always runs out. And we normally have to import some of it from Statia. We want to get to the point where when we have our AgriFest, that we can say all of it is locally grown. We do have a lot of farmers who have a lot of animals. And I know when the member and the mover of the bill, the member for Nevis 2 spoke, he spoke about the need for our livestock farmers to develop a different approach to farming. And I want to encourage our livestock farmers as well to develop a different approach to livestock farming. There is money to be made.
Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. The Nevis Island Administration will implement fiscal measures designed to realign the revenue from essential services with the cost of providing them. Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Mark Brantley, made that disclosure while delivering the NIA's 2024 budget presentation.
We will revise the fees for services provided at our health facilities, especially at the Alexandra Hospital, where the fees for meals and other charges are excessively low for people who must stay overnight at our hospital. To put this in context, Madam President, for the House and for the public, we currently charge EC $20 per day for hospital stays at Alexandra. That includes a bed and 3 meals and medication, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and medication, 20 EC dollars. This is clearly unsustainable. We are aware that a growing portion of our population has health insurance, which will ordinarily cover these costs in a large way, and as such the effect of any increase on individuals, we hope, will be minimal. We will, however, make the necessary provisions for the vulnerable so that their access to health care remains unimpeded. We will reassess prices of items offered at the supply office. This adjustment to the price of these items is driven by the general increase in the cost of buying these items on the international and regional market.
The NIA also intends to institute revenue recovery measures designed to reduce the accumulation of arrears incurred by various government departments.
We will reassess the rates for electricity consumption to lower the burden now on the government for subsidies on electricity. This will be calculated in accordance with the electricity consumed. The extent of the charge on your bill will be dependent on your electricity usage and we therefore encourage all to be conservative in their electricity consumption. We shall recommence our regular disconnection program at both Water Department and NEVLEC. We wish to encourage all of our citizens to be responsible and make the regular monthly payments for their utility bills a priority. We will reassess water rates to bring the price of water more in line with the cost of producing such water, so as to guarantee the sustainability of our water system. Again, special provisions will be made for those vulnerable members of the community to ensure that their water supply is not interrupted.
Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley. Still to come.
As you think about heading to the Inland Revenue Department to renew your driver's license or business license, please ensure that you make payment for all your other taxes that are in arrears.
The details after this break.
As a responsible taxpayer, you help to finance free health care at all health centers on Nevis. Thank you for putting country above self. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis. Be a responsible citizen.
Welcome back. Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley, is making an appeal to all to honour their tax obligations. He is urging individuals and businesses to pay their share of fees and taxes to allow the government the resources to further fund critical programs.
On the matter of property taxes, we continue to be alarmed that despite the robust construction sector and the large numbers of properties constructed monthly, we are only seeing marginal increases in our collection of property tax. The officers at the Inland Revenue Department will continue their efforts to ensure that all properties on Nevis are on the tax roll. I wish to urge all to kindly ensure that your property is registered with the Inland Revenue Department and that your taxes are paid annually.
Premier Brantley says in this fiscal year, the Nevis Island Administration intends to be resolute and steadfast with its revenue collections.
We will link the renewal of various licenses issued by the Inland Revenue Department to the payment of your taxes, especially the payment of your property tax. Put simply, as you think about heading to the Inland Revenue Department to renew your driver's license or business license, please ensure that you make payment for all your other taxes that are in arrears, or if you can't pay, please come in and speak to Inland Revenue so that you can come up with a plan. We will reinstitute the issuance of the tax clearance certificate issued by the Inland Revenue Department, which will be applicable to all business entities wishing to conduct any transaction with the administration. In other words, all entities wishing to do business with this government, whether it is providing goods or services or seeking duty-free concessions, must present a copy of their tax clearance certificate to the relevant government department. This certificate will show the state of your indebtedness to the Inland Revenue Department, if any.
The Inland Revenue Department has been mandated to take all measures available at law to pursue and collect taxes owed to the NIE.
For corporate entities, we will continue to link the annual renewal of the business license to your good standing at the company registry and to your tax status as it relates to your filing of unincorporated business tax, VAT, and corporation taxes. We urge all to be responsible taxpayers and to pay your taxes on time. We have discontinued the practice of granting a waiver of interest and penalties for late payment. We have instead offered installment payment options and expect that persons will undertake the necessary discussions and have suitable installment arrangements put in place and honor these arrangements once implemented.
Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley. The general public is being invited to support this year's scholarship recipients at the 2024 edition of the Alexander Hamilton Tea Party on Thursday, January 11th, the birth date of the U.S. founding father, division-born Alexander Hamilton. Through the Alexander Hamilton Scholarship Fund, the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, NHCS, in coordination with the Department of Community Development, assists secondary school students.
Now, this has been a fundraiser that was started by the former owners of this property over 50 years ago. And on January 11th every year, they would have a tea party, and they would charge people admission for the tea party. And this was used to create funds to send a scholar, serving scholar from Nevis to abroad. In the early days, it was a single scholarship for individuals. Then it went to supporting 4 scholarships. These days, it has evolved to our supporting 20 deserving students in Nevis to help them contribute to some of their expenses to advance their education. We have a goal of selling at least 200 tickets at $25 each, or the equivalent, or whatever donations we can get. The Nevis Historical and Conservation Society sponsors this, and all the funds go directly to these winners of the scholarship fund.
Recognizing the power of education as seen in the life of Alexander Hamilton, NHCS President Richard Lupinacci is calling on members of the general public to assist in the nurturing of Nevis's future generations by donating to the scholarship fund.
It's a worthy cause, and it's in memory of a man who came from nothing, who did benefit from generous people. To send him abroad, they recognized his talent and raised the money to send him to university in the States. And we invite people to come out on Thursday, 4:30 to 6:30, here in the grounds of the Hamilton House. And we'll have a tea, and we'll talk a little bit about Hamilton. And we hope to see a good turnout. And if you can't come, well, at least make a contribution to these deserving young people who want to be able to help in their studies and further in their lives.
You can purchase tickets or make a donation at the Alexander Hamilton Museum of Nevis History or via PayPal. For further information, contact the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society at 469-5786. And that's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing.